He is one of the literally most sought after speakers and trainers in Nikken. And luckily he's in our upline, not that far up from us. And he is one of the most amazing supports and trainers that you'll ever meet. And so anyway, thanks Brody for joining us.
Hey, I love being here in this place with people who are looking to make a difference. So, you know, it's always good to be with good people who want to make the most out of life. And I talked with Maurice just a little bit before we got going here, and I understand that the reason we're holding this is there's a few of you that are saying, you know what, I think I want to move ahead. I want to plant my flag in the ground and stake my claim and create a Nikken empire, so to speak. And for some of you, that may be a small Nikken gathering or a village or maybe a large metropolis or maybe even a whole empire. That's up to you, the way you think and what types of efforts you want to do. But many of the things involved in those steps are all the same. And I want to talk over some really key things for the mind, if you will. And one of the things that I find is really important for folks when they start doing this business is to understand that we have to treat this like a business. And when you treat something like a business, there's often a big shift for about 95% of the people who come our way. Many people come here having been employees as opposed to having an employer or a self-employed mindset. And the employee voice versus the employer mindset are very, very different things. One of them, we sit around waiting to be told what to do. We sit around waiting for someone to tell us how much we're worth, what we can earn per hour, how many hours we can work, where we can work. We wait for somebody else to give us a computer or the tools or the desk or whatever it is. But when you're an entrepreneur, there's a whole different mindset. Often talked about as the law of the harvest. And if you want a big harvest, you got to plant a lot of seeds. And if you're going to plant the seeds, you can't expect they're all going to be grown the next day or even the next week. It takes a while to prepare the soil, carefully plant the seeds, to make sure that we water the seeds and pluck out the weeds, and that we plant and prepare for a large harvest, but also that we're still there when harvest time comes. I know people who've planted large fields and then just disappear, and then somebody else comes along for the harvest. So it's really important to understand that, you know, I grew up on a farm, and Dad, he went to the bank and got a loan so he could get the farm, and then he went to the bank and got a loan so he can get the equipment, and then you know, some people have to get a loan to get the seeds and all those types of things. He had a lot invested in it. There was risk up front. And when we're doing something like this, we are risking our time and our effort. And we have to be willing to do, they say there's 3 phases. Phase 1, where you're doing more than you're getting paid. It's just what'll happen. Phase 2, where you're probably getting paid what you're worth. And phase 3, if you stick around for the harvest, where you're getting paid a lot more than you're worth. And I think one thing that's real important for people as they start is to have a real understanding and expectation of that. And to know that that it does take time, it takes some effort, it takes energy. But what I love is that the harvest is well worth the wait. Freedom is worth the wait. Financial security, when lots of things are falling apart around, to have something that is secure, not waiting for your boss to start business up, or this is a business that isn't hindered by viruses. It's not hindered by boundaries. We've got a global market. It's kind of a cool thing in that category. So if you've not been in business for yourself before, there's a video online. I'm going to, it's an audio recording actually, but it's on YouTube that I'm going to encourage you to listen to. It's called Making the Shift. It's by Darren Hardy. It's actually a book he's written, but it's only a couple hours long. I'd really, really encourage you, listen to this recording, Making the Shift. Because the most important thing as we start this endeavor is getting our mind in the right spot. And an entrepreneur's mind is so different than an employee's mind. If you've ever been an employee and heard people complaining and griping about this, that, and the other, a lot of times employees are more the glass is half empty rather than the glass being half full. Employees often complain about lemons as opposed to making lemonade. And that's what we do. We take every situation and we think through the best of it, so it allows us to move forward. And that's just absolutely key. What we become in life depends upon what we think about. What we become in life depends upon what we think about. And if you take repeated thoughts of, I'm just so tired, I'm just so tired, I'm just so tired, I'm always so tired, then we're always going to be tired. And I realize there are conditions that cause us to be tired, but if we completely always think, I'm just so tired, we're going to be tired. If we think, why am I so fat? Our brain will always tell us why we're so fat and give us more excuses why we can become even fatter. If we think, why am I so dumb? Then the brain tells us all the reasons why we're dumb. And it just keeps enforcing that. But if we think about success and about how to make something successful and about how to reach certain goals and targets, how can I create a successful Nikken business? How can I find success-oriented people to join my team? How can I create a Nikken empire? How can I reach Royal Diamond? You start getting your brain working on those types of things, and your brain will bring you what you think about. And if we go back to the law of the harvest, maybe use two different analogies. One, we can plant seeds in terms of planting ideas and thoughts of giving presentations to people are seeds. But in this case, I want to talk about planting seeds in your brain. What seeds will you allow to be planted in your brain in terms of your Nikken business? And are you going to plant weeds? Are you going to plant a little bush? Or are you going to plant an oak tree? Something that's going to be around a long time. And, you know, one of my first trainings I went to, I was very fortunate. The trainer there, he said, I just asked myself two questions every day. He said, what am I doing today that I want my downline to duplicate? Okay. What am I going to do today that I want my downline to duplicate? So if today we just decided, I'm taking today off, I'm not going to do Nikken, guess what your downline's doing? They're taking today off. But if today we said, well, I'm going to listen to something positive, I'm going to talk to 3 new people today, I'm going to make sure I'm giving at least 2 presentations, I'm going to, you know, what are we doing today that we want our downline to duplicate? And it doesn't take a lot, if you will. If we just put in 10 hours a day, 10 hours a week, if we just put in 10 hours a week as a minimal foundation, then magic can begin taking place. We make that our main thing. We're at least going to get that. And if we get excited, maybe we'll put in 20. If we get more excited, we maybe put a little bit more. But if we just make a minute, I'm going to put in 10 hours. I was elated when I learned about building a team with Nikken. And well, if I put in 10 hours and I found 10 other people that want to play Nikken, and they're each putting in 10 hours, well, now I'm getting paid for 110 hours because they're each putting in 10 and I'm putting in 10, that's 110. And if they each found 10 people, well, now I'm getting paid for 1,110 hours. And that duplication is really, really important. Am I doing what I want my downline to duplicate? Am I saying, well, I'm just too scared to call people, so I'm not going to call people? Well, then guess what all of our team will do? If we say, well, I'm going to try to do this without having the products myself. I'm not going to buy the products. Well, guess what our team's going to try to do? They're going to try to build business without buying the products. If we don't own them, we don't use them, we don't have the experiences, we won't have, it's this law of karma or whatever you want to call it. We attract people who think like us. And when we change our thinking, we attract a whole new different type of people. Okay? And so when I got started, I did not have the money for this. I mean, I was a college kid trying to go on a date for $2. and suddenly I'm like, oh, all these products, I got to get all this stuff. And I took a look at it and I realized, boy, if I got myself to the executive level, instead of earning 0% on the commission scale there, sure, I could make the retail, but as far as overrides, instead of 0, I could make 10%. I thought, well, I want to get to that executive level right away. I remember my mentor, no one had told him about the compensation plan, how it worked. So he ordered $700 one month and $900 the next month and $1,200 the next month. And he had all these products. If he just got them all at once, he would have been executive and earning not only on his own purchases, but on what other people did in his organization. So what we do, what we think, how we approach this is how our team will approach this. So what I want you to think about is not how do I want to start my business? How do I want to think about my business? I want you to think about how do I want my team to start their business? How do I want my team to approach people? How many people do I want my team approaching? All that type of stuff. Because what you do, you will duplicate. What you think about, you become. Your team becomes. So with that in mind, I do want you to latch onto one really important thing. And that I'll wrap up with, and then I'll let Maurice and Becky take the rest of the nuts and bolts for you guys getting launched. But the thing that I want to talk about is the importance of setting early on goals for your NECANN business. Because if you just set out to say, well, I think I'll give it a try today and see how things go, and then typically nothing really happens. Every time we have a fear, every time we have a distraction, every time our neighbor comes up and asks if we can help with this project or that project, or our kids or our grandkids or whatever it is, life will get in the way. If we just say, I'm going to see how it goes, it doesn't. You've got to have a goal. And I would encourage several different goals along the way. And I'm not going to set the goals for you. I encourage you to reach as high as you believe you can with your goals. The phrase that I learned early on was start with the end in mind. And I looked around at people who were silver, making a few hundred to a few thousand a month. I looked at people who were gold, making maybe a few more hundred to a few thousand a month. I looked at people who were platinum. They were pretty excited. They knew that things were working. They were heading directions, but they were still spinning the wheels. They were balancing work and balancing NECANN. Then I looked at diamonds and royal diamonds, and they didn't have a job anymore. And they had these huge organizations, and they had freedom, and so I sat there, I thought, well, what do I want to be? And they said, start with the end in mind. So I just said, you know what? If I'm going to do this, if I'm really going to do this, I'm going to be a royal diamond. I might as well do that. I mean, that's the goal. So start. You have to figure out what your end is, but start with the end in mind. And the reason for that is if someone says, I just want to be an executive, well, you can get to executive by helping, 10, 15, 20 people get on a weight loss program, and poof, they're on auto ship and you're there. Okay. But if you're going to be a royal diamond, they've got all the products, they've got the tools, they're listening to the books, they've got themselves set up on their personal webpage, they're attending the trainings, they're putting on so just the mindset, whatever your goal is, changes your mindset and your action. A royal diamond doesn't just wake up and go, I don't know, should I do NECANN today or not? They wake up excited to follow up with people, excited to do the whole gamut. So goals. And your goals may start out to be, by this date, I'm going to have these products. By this date, I'm going to have my grand opening, or by this date, I'm going to go on 10 appointments with my sponsor and mentor helping me out. But what are your goals? And if you're taking notes right now, just write that word big and bold, goals. And if you don't have goals, you're probably standing still or running backwards. We don't just tread water. We're either going to sink or we're going to swim. And if there's something that will help to propel your business forward, I just want you to write that 4-letter word down, goals. Well, actually 5 letters with the S on the end. Goals, goals, goals. Have them, talk about them with your mentor, and get things moving ahead in a positive direction. So with that, the rest of the nuts and bolts, I'm going to leave up to the Wilkies and so forth. But I want to make sure everyone's got my number. Call me anytime. Text me. Happy to help out. Happy to do phone calls with your people. Happy to help you on your first presentations, even remotely right now. We're doing loads of presentations just over the web via Zoom. But my number is 435-512-1944. Again, that's 435-512-1944. And I love people, helping people who are just wanting our products. I love people and helping people who are wanting to figure out how to turn this into a profitable business. So I'm happy to talk to any and all of them. So Maurice, anything else you want me to cover before you take over?
I don't think so. Heather and Terry, do you have anything you want to ask Brody, or?
Is there any particular time of day that's best to call him?
Calling me?
Yes, sir.
I typically don't answer on a Sunday. Most other days I can get back to you fairly quickly, but know that sometimes if you work to get a hold of me, it may take 24 hours to get back, but often I can get back the same day. Okay.
Okay. All right.
And text me. I don't put notifications on my text, but I look down at it multiple times during the day. So it's not like I text and I immediately get it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Feel free to call anytime you want. Reach out. Happy to help out. Okay.
Thank you, Brody.
Yeah. All right, Heather, any questions?
No, I don't have any questions. I mean, I have looked into all this stuff. And so I guess one question that I would have, what books would you recommend to read first? Like,
okay, so the first one that I talked about, Making the Shift by Darren Hardy.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. One of my favorite network marketing books. Have you read Go Pro?
Uh-huh.
You've read that?
No, I haven't read
Okay.
that one. No.
So I would
Sorry.
start with that one. Simple, sweet. It's got a lot of the basics on it. And then I've got other books depending upon your level of what it is you want to accomplish with your reading.
Okay.
Okay. There's some people, there's some books that would scare people away. Okay. And there's some books that would give people the courage to just go forth in spite of whatever's going. I mean, one of my favorite ones was John K. Lynch's Being the Best You Can Be in MLM. Being the Best You Can Be in MLM by John K. Lynch. And I remember he had I think it was chapter 4, he talked about developing the skin of a rhinoceros. I thought, what a chapter heading. And part of that title I didn't like because I'm a touchy-feely kind of guy. But then there was a part of it that I realized, you know what, there's going to be some people who want to pee in your Cheerios, you know? And, it happens. I mean, sometimes it's the closest people to you. It can be your spouse. It can be your mother. It can be your sister. Like, what are you thinking? What are you doing? And so sometimes the idea of skin of a rhinoceros, I remember an analogy that was very key for me in the beginning stages was that I grew up on a farm. We had workhorses. The workhorses had blinders, okay? And they put the blinders on the workhorses so that, you know, when something moved in the brush or something aside, it wouldn't jostle them. It wouldn't scare them. It wouldn't freak them out. They could just stay on task. And I was told to set a goal. I was told to give it at least a minimum of a 1-year commitment and then put the blinders on and just move ahead. Because, and I literally see 90% of the people, I mean, there's who don't make it. The reason they don't make it is they didn't set, at least a year commitments. They didn't put the blinders on, and they were trying to say after their 3rd appointment, well, it's just not working. Okay. There was I went to a training that I didn't like, and they said, hurry up and get done with your first 100 appointments so that you can get your skill set up to par and start having some success. And I thought, that's mean, that's cruel. I want to have success along the way, and I did. But after you get through a certain number of appointments and learn the questions and the types of objections people would handle, learn how to help people through certain challenges and so forth, you become electric and able to help your team in ways that you weren't able to help before. So there's a big part of this business that's just experience. Now the cool part, and I'll tell you how to shorten the learning curve, make sure as you go on your appointments to begin with, don't go alone. Okay? Take Becky, take Maurice, take me, take Terry, take us with you. Whether that be you take your phone and you do a Zoom with your phone and have us in your back pocket, or literally physically call up and say, can we come with you, or whatever it is. If you do, you will shorten your learning curve dramatically by involving us in the beginning. The people who I have who went on to become successful and leadership folks were team players. People who played the Lone Ranger got shot. I mean, even the Lone Ranger had Tonto. He took someone with him, right? So that's the same thing in this business. If you will do it and make it a we go instead of an I go, the success rates go through the roof. Great question, though.
Perfect.
Anything else? Okay. I'll turn it over to Becky and Maurice. And if you guys are really looking to get started, one of the biggest things I'd encourage you to do is just set up a time of when's going to be our first meeting, you know, and that, whether it be a Zoom in-home, or that you're inviting a bunch of people to a conference call, or you're going out to do individual appointments. When's that going to be? And don't, you know, this is a crazy time right now. I get it with COVID and all that type of stuff. But there's still a lot of people who are more than willing to meet one-on-one. We're supposed to be in gatherings under 10, you know, and so we can still get together and chat with folks. Or we can do it remotely and get people moving that way. So I did one just this last week, and I told them, I said, this will be a terrible presentation because most of what I have, I love being in person and it's experiential. And but we'll see how it goes. And they bought the whole water pack when I was done. I'm like, whoa. So at any rate, I will jump off. I'm going to mute mine. I've got to go take care of some stuff with my kids. But I'll leave the recording coming. I'll come back and check every 10 minutes, Maurice, so you can have it for passing it on, okay?
All right. Super.
All right.
Thanks, Jody. Okay. So Heather and Terry, how much time do you have? I don't want to overstay our welcome here.
I've got as much time as you need.
Okay. Heather?
Sorry. I need to go and pick up my kids. My daughter brought us back to pick up my husband's truck, and so now I need to go back and pick them
All
up.
right.
So if you don't mind, I can stay on and listen, and then I can drive over there, so I have about 15 more minutes.
Okay. And it's really not going to take long. I just want to go over some steps, the first things to do when you're starting to launch business. And
Okay.
Yeah, and if you need to mute yourself and just listen, that's great, Heather.
Okay.
And I talked to Terry about this already. One of the first things you need to do is come up with a list of people. And as I told Terry, this is just people you know. Don't qualify them. Don't go through and think, well, I think this person will want to listen to this and won't, and this will. Just write down people you know. See if you can get 100 names on a list. And
You know,
then,
I didn't
Go
think
ahead,
that was
Terry.
going to be, I was just going to say, I didn't think that was going to be possible. But then I happened to try to forward something to some friends on Messenger, and I just scrolled down and realized, whoa, you know, I do have those names. I didn't realize, they were right there in front of me.
Awesome.
Yeah, exactly. All of us know a lot of people. We just forget that we know a lot of people. And so write it all down. Get this list. And then after you have the list, let's get together and go through them, and then we can start prioritizing those that you want to talk to first. And Terry, you've got a bunch of products, and I know that you swear by them. Brody he talked a lot about that, how we really need to be a product of the product. And that is so important. And I can work with you one-on-one on, you know, maybe the types of things that you want to get, so that you have the experiences, so that people say, well, what has this done for you? You can tell them what it's done for you. And if there's something that maybe you haven't had an experience with, wow, we know an awful lot of people who have had experience with just about everything. So, 100 name list. What's that?
Did you
Yes.
move? Did you move your phone somewhere? You're echoing.
Oh, am I?
Uh-huh.
Is that any better?
Yes.
Okay. Wow, I moved it about, I twisted it about a quarter of an inch.
A little bit more. Do it again.
Okay, is that any better?
Yep, that's a little better.
Awesome, thanks. Okay, so 100 name list. Let's figure out, we'll work with you one-on-one to see what you feel you can do and the products you can get so that you can be a product of the products. Let's go work with you with that 100 name list to prioritize it to the ones that are the first ones that we contact. And you know what? You may or may not contact everybody on that list, and that's okay. But if we have the list, at least we have some place to start. And then we need to start seeing those people. Brody mentioned that you'll learn as you go. Take me or Becky or get Brody on the line or on the Zoom, or Dave Johnson. You both talked to Dave Johnson, or Linda Morris that you've talked to, Heather, or in fact, what we'll do is we'll put together a list of people that you can just call that would be more than happy to help when they know that you're on my team, and Becky's team. And you could call them up, and you know, you have all these people that are a resource, and as they talk to people, take specific note of the things they say, how they say it, and the things you like, make it your own. If you need to write it down, and just go over and over and over until that becomes part of you. Dave Johnson says often, he says that when he started NECANN, he wanted to become the very best, and to do that, he had to, if he would just do the things that successful people did, then he would be successful. And that's exactly what he did. And he is the top NECANN distributor. And so, if we start there with 100 name list, let's go over it. Let's figure out what it is you need to do to be a product of the product, and start seeing these people, and we train you as we're going on the things to say and how to say it. What we also need to do is maybe have a training just where we talk about how to approach people. The best way to do that, the things to say. You know, there are some things that with regulations that we have to be very careful, so that we don't have the FCC or FTC and the FDA coming after us. We don't want that kind of stuff. And we can go over all of that at another time. Becky, is there anything else for the very basics of just getting started?
I like how Brody mentioned making a goal. And
Yes.
He's had us before write down in your day, in your week, what are the top priorities. So that's going to be your family, your work, your church work, and you block that out, but then find the times that do work. And then, so if it's only half an hour, a certain time on Monday and Wednesdays, Tuesdays and Thursdays are better, then making those times so that we can work together on that. And then making some goals.
And you know what? We can help you with the goals. Neither of you, I don't think, understand the compensation plan. So that's, in fact, that I wrote that down and wasn't looking at my list. Let's help you understand the compensation plan. With me sitting in this truck at a truck stop, I don't have the visuals ready and everything to show you what's going on with the comp plan. But let's go over that. And I wonder, maybe on Saturday or the beginning of next week, if we could have another Zoom and get together and go over the comp plan so that you understand where it is, what you need to do, specific numbers to be successful, because we can show you that. And it's simple. It doesn't mean it's easy to do, because anything that is worthwhile is going to take some effort. But the comp plan itself is actually quite simple. And then the work to make it work is good, hard work, and boy, is it satisfying. So anyway, I think that's a good place to start. Do you guys have any questions?
Well, the thing that I need to experience right now is to be able to have a successful Zoom meeting. We've tried that a couple of times with the Jim Williams, and that just hasn't gone through yet. And I've just been at a loss as to what I can actually do, as far as seeing people in person is obviously not the best option right now, or the most welcome. So
one thing that Brody says with having goals, and how some people, if you don't have a goal, after you talk to 3 people and they all say no, you say, oh, this doesn't work. If you have a list of 10 people and 3 or 4 or 5 of them say no, or you're just about out of names. What if you have a list of 100 people and 3 or 4 say no? Okay, well, I've still got 95 people that I can talk to. He talked about having skin of a rhino. You're going to get a lot of no's, and that's okay. And sometimes it hurts because you think, oh, this person is going to be so good. Well, they may be if they decide to, but obviously it's up to them. And I hope that Jim joins us at some point, because he's a pretty awesome guy, and I think he would do great. And in the meantime, as we're working on him, let's see how many other people we can talk to.
Sure. You're starting to get pretty distorted. I don't know why. Yeah,
okay.
You're starting to sound like a new age song or something.
Yeah, it could be that the 4G is starting to lose it or something out here in the middle of nowhere. So.
Can you move it closer to you?
Well, that may or may not help. That sounds like a signal problem. Is that any better?
No.
A thought that came to my mind was something that Dave Johnson had said that he's been doing during this time, Terry, and this might help you out too if you're not able to have a successful Zoom meeting or whatnot. He just said that he drops something in the mail, like the duct tape or whatever, just because you can clip a little piece of that and put that in for people to sample and to see and whatever. I mean, so that even may be an option to send out even that to your 100 people or whatnot, in order to kind of get them interested. Hey, Terry, what is this stuff that you sent me? And then they'll call you or whatever, and you can set up a Zoom meeting or even do it over the phone and 3-way or whatnot. And maybe that might help too. Kind of get yourself out there and, get people interested. I don't know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very good.
One big thing right now is water. There is this actually helps with our own immune system and keeping things going because of the virus. That's actually something that's really good, is to drink. But right now there's also a special on it this month. So just now is just something that, do you have good water? And there's some different ones on, like, I don't know if it's, no, Dave wasn't. There's different ones that actually have something that they've sent online, either through Facebook or such, that is just something to put out there and creates interest.
Yeah. And there's actually 2 water specials right now. One is 20% off the waterfall, and the other one is $50 off for customers, or a $50 Niken reward points on the water pack. But keep in mind that when you get the pack, you get a 10% discount anyway. So you get the 10% discount plus the $50 off. Yeah. So, is there a time on Saturday that you guys are available that we could do this again, and we could maybe sit down, and I'll be home this time, that we can maybe even have Dave Johnson on and have him tell us the things that he does and he says to introduce this to people, and we can go over the compensation plan and help you understand that.
That'd be fine. What time works for you, Heather?
Okay, sorry, hold on, let me park. My brain is not, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe like, ooh, would probably be best, if that works for you too, Terry. Like around 10
10?
10 p.m.
a.m.
a.m. on
if that
Saturday.
works for you. Yeah, if that works for you. If not, we could do it, I mean,
No, that'd be fine.
earlier. Okay.
Yeah, 10 a.m. would be fine.
Okay, I will send you. I'll send you a new Zoom link, because this is his Brody's, and I'll need to send you ours.
Okay.
So,
And Maurice, it would be okay for me to try and invite a couple of other people again, right?
oh, absolutely. The more, the merrier.
All right. I'll try and get that. I'll try and get a hold of a couple of other people.
Sweet.
Let's see. So, what about the one-on-ones situation? As far as, I've got a person or two I'd love to talk to, but the really impressive thing is seeing some of the demonstrations and seeing what the products can do on that first meeting. And are we okay to try to do that, or do we need to stick to the Zoom meetings? Or
I don't feel bad about doing that. You'd have to see how they feel about it. Keep in mind that Brody said that he just did an online thing, and the people got the whole water pack without experiencing it.
Okay.
And so
But
by far it's best to be able to experience it, but if you can't, you can't. So we just do the best we can, and that's okay.
But you can
Okay.
demonstrate it, like if Heather or Terry were with, if we were together and then they are looking, you actually have someone to demonstrate it and they're watching,
Right.
and just saying, this is much better for you to actually feel and see, but I want you to see this. And you can do some of the same things, but.
Sure. Wish you could
That
be
makes
here,
sense.
right?
Yeah. And you know what? If they can, that's okay. And if they can't, that's okay.
Yeah.
Whichever
All right.
it is, what we do is the very best with what we have. And then we don't worry about it.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll plan for Saturday at 10 in the morning then.
And I'll see
All
if
right.
I can get
That
Dave
sounds
on,
great.
and we'll go over the compensation plan. And Dave, I mean, he's been doing this for so long. He is, talking about making things your own. As we talk to him, take copious notes. And then practice until the things that you think are can become part of you are part of you. And then when situations arise, they're just right there at the top of your head, and you just say it, and it works, and it's sincere, and the people go, wow, this is awesome. Make sense?
Mhm.
Of course.
Super. Okay.
Linking them also to Gary Linder's information he has, and he has a weekly thing that we can actually link onto. You can watch it. He has question and answers, and so there's other people that are leaders that do some things that we can link other people to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We have so many tools that we can use. and we'll go over them on Saturday too. That means I've got to do a lot of preparation here. What I will probably do is send out a list of all of the tools and a link to, I mean, there are so many links that of videos and websites and stuff that people have put together that are just absolutely phenomenal. And live classes, and every day there's a 15-minute introduction to NECAM that you can plug people into. Every Thursday, Brody does his half-hour audio thing about some product or other. So a lot of ways that we can learn and grow and help others do the same.
Yeah, I'd love to see some of those.
Yeah.
And don't limit your list to around here, because we have people in all over, in Hawaii, in Europe, in Canada, and East Coast, West Coast.
And even if you don't have anybody where your people are, we have Zoom and we have telephones.
Yeah.
So, and we have the mail that we can send them a strip of duct tape.
Okay.
So anyway.
Yep.
All right. We'll talk to you Saturday then.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, both Heather and
Hey.
Terry. We, I have just grown to love you guys, both of you. And I just hope we can really work together and just create a team and help you all be successful.
Well, I'm no less excited about the products and what they offer people. I'm just as excited as ever. It's just a matter of trying to get myself out of the little hole that I've dug for myself, where I place too many limitations on myself.
Yeah, and you know what? We'll do that.
Yeah,
That's one
we
of the
do.
reasons for goals. So, okay.
Great.
All right.
Well,
Well, have a good night.
Okay,
Thank you
we'll
so
see you 10
much.
o'clock on Saturday.
You
Okay,
bet.
great.
Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you guys.
All right, bye.
Have a good night, Heather. All right, bye.
You too, Terry. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.
Bye.
See ya.